Welcome to Code Jogging. In our previous video, we looked at how to add vite and then react to our existing project. And I said that in the next video, we'll be looking at how to add Tailwind to our project. So that's what we are going to do in this video. In case you've not subscribed to our channel, please kindly subscribe to our channel and also subscribe to our Telegram channel too, so that anytime we upload a new content, it will be easy for us to reach out to you and you never miss any content from us. So without wasting much time, let's get started. For us to add a Tailwind library to or a Tailwind plugin to our existing project, there are some steps you need to follow. And why do we need to do that? Because we've already added Tailwind to our project. The reason is simple. With a CDN, we always have to connect to the internet before we can get access to our Tailwind library. And this is what I'm talking about. When you open our login form here, this is the CDN I'm talking about. With this, we always have to connect to the internet before we can use the Tailwind library. And now, we don't want to do that. We want to get our Tailwind in our project so that if we don't have any internet access, we can still continue coding our project. So that's what we are going to do. So now we've created our React project. That's what we did in our previous video. With the npm, we should be able to add our Tailwind library to our project for local use. So what we are going to do is let's visit Tailwind platform. So let's visit Tailwind. So now this is our Tailwind platform. Let's go to the documentation. And here, at first we were using this. Okay, we were using the CDN, which means that we always have to connect to the internet before you can use it. But in this video, we are going to use the post-TSS. Okay, so with this one, with the help of the vite or webpack, we should be able to add our Tailwind CSS to our project and then use it offline. So the first step we are going to look at is adding the Tailwind library to our project. So let's copy this first code here. So we are going to install the Tailwind and then post CSS and then the auto prefixer. So it means that we are going to install 3 libraries using one command. So let's go to our terminal. We can come here and then create or click on the new terminal, or we can come here and then click on plus. So let's paste it. Make sure that you've connected to your internet and then let's press enter. Okay, so whilst we are waiting for the npm to download the Tailwind library, here we have to create a Tailwind config file. Okay, oh, now we are done. So now we've added our Tailwind library to our project. Let's confirm whether we've done it or not. So let's go to T side and then let's search for Tailwind here. So this is the Tailwind library that we've added to our project. Okay, so now the next step is to create 2 files. We need the post.css files and then Tailwind config file. These 2 files are the configuration file that we need to add. Okay, so now let's go to our Tailwind page and copy this line of code. We should be able to have the Tailwind config file. Okay, yes, so now we have our Tailwind config file. But before the Tailwind config file can work, we need to also create the post.css config file. For us to do it, it's simple. We just come here and then we copy this file. Okay, and then we right click, select new file, we paste the name, then we can go ahead and then copy the entire code here. Okay, so now Let's paste it, and then we are done with the post CSS config file. So the next step we are going to look at is the Tailwind file. What Tailwind file does is we have to provide them the path or the folder that they can render the Tailwind codes in. So if there's a folder and the folder contains a file that has Tailwind codes in it, then we need to state the path. Other than that, it won't work. Okay, so that's the first thing we are going to do in our Tailwind config file. So let's go to the documentation page, and they are saying that we should copy this one. So we have to copy the entire code. Okay, so let's copy only this. We need only this one. Okay, sorry. So let's copy this one. Okay, so now for now we are done with the Tailwind config file. We are just telling the config file that any file or any folder inside the resources folder, this is the resources folder, any file or any folder or subfolder that has a file with an extension HTML and then JS. Okay, and if any of the file contains Tailwind code, then we can render the Tailwind in it. So that's what we've set here. This one is a rule, and you need to pay much attention. Other than that, your code won't work. You can write your Tailwind code perfectly, but your code won't work. Okay, so now what we are going to do next is to make sure that we are using the Tailwind in our project. So we have to go to the index.css. Okay, we don't need any of the code here, so let's delete it. Okay, then the next step is copy this 3 lines of code. Then let's go to our index.css and then paste it. Okay, so now we've added our Tailwind library to our project. Okay, so what we are going to do next is let's go ahead and test. Someone will ask, is it compulsory for us to use the index.css? No, you can change the folder name to maybe main.css. It will still work. But when you change the folder name, make sure that you've included the the file name. Once you change the file name, you have to make sure that you've included it here too, because the index.css is working because we've added it to our main React file. And as I've said, anytime you execute your React project, okay, anytime you execute your React project, it starts its execution from this page before it will start rendering other components that you create. So now we've added our index.css, and someone also asked, is it compulsory for us to also use main.js here to render our React code? The answer is it's not compulsory. We can change the file name to home.js. We can change it to any preferred name that you want to use. But once we change the name, you have to make sure that you go to the index file and then change the name here too. Because the main.js is working because we've added it here. So please pay attention. You can change any name, any file that you want, but you have to make sure that you are using at the right place. So now let's go to our app.js, because we've included app.js here, and then we are calling app.js here. Okay, so we've created a component called app.js, and we have imported it into the main React code. So this is our parent code here, or our parent container. So all other codes are going to run inside the app.js. Okay, so let's visit our app.js. Okay, and now this is what we have. Okay, so for us not to waste much time, let's refresh our page and then check the output. Yes, so now this is what we have. So let's delete this code. Okay, so let's delete this code and then make sure that um Everything is working perfectly. And one thing you have to um look at is once you finish updating your code and you switch to React, you realize that it has already updated the page for you. So that's the power of a React framework. Okay. People say that it's not a framework, it's a library, but I prefer calling it as a framework. Okay. So now let's write our Tailwind code and see if our Tailwind project is working here. So let's use this code and then let's use this. Yeah, let's change the background color to, now we are having the IntelliSense. So for us to make sure that we won't type everything, okay, so that we can let IntelliSense help us in the Tailwind, you can go to the extension. Let's go to the extension here. Then we can search for Tailwind CSS. Then we have a lot of extension that we can install. So install the Tailwind CSS. You can install, we have a lot, but make sure that you've installed, or because maybe I've installed my, that's the reason why it's not showing. So just click on the install and then it will install it on your IDE for you. After that, you have to restart it. After restarting it, then you are good to go. So once you install the Tailwind, it helps you to get all the Tailwind code in your project with the help of the IntelliSense, so that once you start typing, the IntelliSense will start suggesting some of the functions that you can use. So you don't need to stress yourself to keep everything in your head. Okay, so now let's change it to red. Okay, so with this, once we refresh our page, we are supposed to see something here. Let's go to inspect elements. It says there's nothing wrong with our code. So why is that the Tailwind is not working? So let's write something here. Dave, welcome to code jogging. Okay, so and then let's make this one flex, and we want to center the welcome to code jogging. So let's add justify center. Okay, so now this is what we have. So we have welcome to code jogging, but we are supposed to see red background color here, and then we want this code to be centered here. It means that our Tailwind is not working. And as I said earlier, that if your Tailwind code is not working, it means you've not done the right configuration. So let's go to our Tailwind configuration file. Okay, and then let's check. We are saying that, okay, fine, go to the resources folder, check any file or any folder that has an extension HTML, is right, or JS, render all the Tailwind codes in it, as far as we've called the file to render it on the browser. So that's what we've told the Tailwind configuration file. Other than that, your code won't work. So now let's go and check. We have the resources folder here. But we've realized that we don't have any file extension that ends with JS, but we rather have JSX. So it means that it's either we change this one to JSX, or we have to add it to it. So XX here. Okay, so now we've added that one to it. So let's restart our server again. So let's go to terminal. Let's go to view terminal, and then let's go to terminal here, and then let's run it again. Okay, so I know that most of the React Tailwind code, you will encounter this problem. Don't worry, the solution is simple. Okay, you don't need to panic. The solution is simple. Now, what we are doing is we've now updated our code. Okay, so we've added the the JSX to our file, to our content here. But let's read the error here. The file is being treated as an ES model because of this extension. So the model here. So what it's trying to say, instead of using the JS file here, let's convert everything to JS file here, CJS file here. So let's change this one. So this is what it wants us to fix. Okay, because it's here. So rename your file, rename it to use this extension. So let's run our code again. And now we are through. Yes, now our Tailwind code is working. So that's the reason why we've had this background here. Now, the assignment I'm going to give it to you is, you've realized that we are not supposed to have any white space here, any white space at the top. Okay, we've realized that we are supposed to have the red background covering the entire page. You don't scroll to have this and that. Okay, so your assignment is fix this error, figure out how to remove the white space. Okay, this white space is here, so that what the screen will be this without scrolling. Okay, without scrolling anything. Once we refresh the page, we see the entire page with a red background and a text here. Okay, so that's what we want you to do. Okay, so let's center our text. Where is it first? Because the goal was to center our text. So let me remove this div. Okay. Yes, so let's see. Flex width, height. Okay, background, justify, and then items, center. Yes, so you should fix this. You don't want the user to scroll before. No, so that's your assignment, and I believe you can do it. Just play around it. Once you are done, copy your code, like back up your code somewhere, and then we can work on what you are working on right now, so that in case you have any errors and then you can't revert your code back to its default state, then we can restore the backup and then continue from there. So in our next video, I'm going to show you how to fix this error, and it's so simple, and I believe you will fix it before we start our next video. So now, in case you've not subscribed to our channel, please kindly subscribe to our channel. And also, if you have any question regarding to the Tailwind that we've added to our project, you can turn off your data and then Tailwind will still work in your project. If you have any question, you can leave it at the comment section. And if you have any suggestions that can help us to improve on this channel, you can use the channel email address to reach out to us, and we make sure that we will implement your suggestions. And also subscribe to our Telegram channel. We've provided a link at the description section. Please subscribe so that anytime you upload a new video, we will reach out to you and you never miss any video from us. See you in our next video. Bye bye.